As children, it was often difficult to tell what around us was real and what was magic.
Nature and the transformations that happen all around us often seem impossible, like a magic trick.
As children, we all learn the story of the butterfly. Let us refresh your memory with the help of a little bit of magic.
You know, there are more ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are grains of sand on the beach. Actually, that doesn't quite cut it. There are more ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are atoms in the entire world. It's chaotic and random. A little bit like nature.
Our story starts with a mother butterfly who lays an egg. Much smaller than this one, of course. The egg is glued to a leaf. And from that egg hatches a tiny caterpillar. Surrounded by a sea of leaves. Our caterpillar has plenty to eat. And as she eats, she grows and grows and grows. She eats and eats. She grows and grows. Eventually, our tiny caterpillar is not so tiny anymore. She is now ready to undergo a transformation, not of magic, but of science. She spins a cocoon made of silk. And within that cocoon, she uses digestive enzymes, like those in your saliva that you use to digest your food, to digest her entire body. She is now caterpillar soup. But encoded in her DNA is the knowledge of hundreds of millions of years of evolution. And like a living jigsaw puzzle, she puts herself back together again, but no longer a caterpillar, now a butterfly.
Now for children, this is where the story ends. But it is not the whole story.
For a butterfly is just one piece in an ecosystem, and a butterfly is just one kind of mother. For there to be balance in nature, for plants to not be devastated by hungry caterpillars, other life cycles are inevitably entwined around the butterfly. Let us now tell you a slightly different story, no less like magic and no less full of a mother's love, but perhaps slightly lesser known and slightly more stomach-turning. Our story starts the same. A caterpillar hatches on a leaf, begins its life in the world. It eats and it grows. But this time, another life is flying nearby. A mother wasp, her sleek black body pushing through the air as she seeks a pulse of life. A pulse of life that will home and host her children. wasp spies the caterpillar and lands on a leaf nearby. She uses a long needle-like projection to inject her eggs. She pushes her eggs into the hapless caterpillar, then flies away. The caterpillar's story continues. It eats and eats, it grows and grows. But inside the caterpillar, the baby wasps, writhing and maggot-like, are slowly eating it from the inside out. The wasp babies get bigger and bigger, feeding on the flesh of the caterpillar, until eventually they're too big to fit inside the caterpillar any longer, and growing sharp teeth, they chew their way out, writhing and squirming to make their way into the world. They form cocoons, tiny bundles of silk nestled on the dying caterpillar. And inside, they undergo their own transformation, changing from wriggling white maggots into sleek, beautiful wasps, their shiny black bodies reflecting the sunlight as they go out in the world searching for caterpillars in which to lay their eggs. There are thousands of species of these wasps in Australia, but many have yet to be named and described. They may be as yet undiscovered, or they may be sitting in museum collections in the dusty drawer labelled unknown. It is the task of taxonomists to name and describe these species so that we can all learn about our biodiversity. But it takes a really long time to describe a new species. In my PhD, I wanted to quickly know how many species there might be from a group of wasp specimens. So instead of looking at each individual wasp, I used a piece of their DNA, like a DNA barcode, unique to each species of wasp. I had hundreds of wasps to study, so we sequenced all of their DNA barcodes together. And it was then a case of sorting and unshuffling the data to work out how many species there might be.
That's quite a lot. So try and think of it like this. Imagine this shuffled deck of cards is a group of unsorted wasps in a collection. Now these cards are special. They've got markings on the side here. And I want you to think of these markings as being like the DNA barcode. Now at the moment, everything's a little bit muddled. But by sequencing the DNA, a picture starts to appear. You may be able to see the word species now repeating 4 times. Next, we take that data and we run analysis and we compare against online databases. And the picture gets clearer still. Finally, we need to work out which species are already known to science and which ones are completely new. And this allows us to identify and describe our brand new species. Order from chaos, and for good measure, order from chaos. And that, briefly, is how we perform our science.
Thank you for listening to our story and to our science. We hope we've inspired you just a little bit to look at the little things next time you're outside, to notice not just the butterfly, but also the wasp.